Hi, welcome to Sugar Free. This is the weekly read for week commencing Monday, the 25th of September 2023. As all signs reading, I've got a feeling this might focus on love. So let's see. I'm using two decks here. Look at that. There's the Empress at the bottom of the deck. This is the ancient Italian tarot, all right? And I'm going to be using the major arcana of this deck. I know this deck well. Lovely deck. And here I've got the Rider-Waite split into its suits. So we've got the Pentacles, the Wands, the Swords and the Cups. I'm going to pull three from the major arcana, three major arcana cards. And then I'm going to clarify each of those major arcana cards with one from each suit of the minor arcana. That's how I do it here. There might be some sort of oracle thing towards the end. We'll see. So this is all shuffled. This major arcana here. I'm just going to give it one more little go. Look at that. Judgment next to the Empress now. How interesting. Okay, something's on. Something's on. Something's up for a... It's like digging down into a flower bed or a vegetable bed or something, a vegetable patch that never flipping grew anything. And all the conditions were there for it to grow, like really wonderful stuff, but it didn't. So we got to dig down and do a bit of flipping soil analysis, man. It's like, what happened? That's what I'm getting off that. Let's give it another go. I'm not going to look this time, but you can see some of it, maybe. Right, there we go. Okay, I'm going to cut the deck. There we go. Right, three major arcana cards to get the party started. There you go. The party starter par excellence. The Fool. Okay, wonderful. Okay, we've got the Hierophant in the reverse. Okay, this second position here is about what you don't see. It's the Hierophant in reverse. That is quite serious. That's quite serious energy. Unlike the Fool here, this first position is things as they appear. Things, the way things seem to be right now. Like the incoming energy for the reading. Okay. Very, very contrasting energies here. I guess we'll see, because when I was going to say when the Fool's on his head, when the Hierophant's on his head, there is something sort of rather ridiculous about that. You know, this very, very dignified figure, very dignified, you know, surrounded by the acolytes and kind of dispensing the spiritual rules, if you like. That's what the Hierophant energy is. It's about how we conduct ourselves on the emotional, but more moral and spiritual front, like in the collective. This is not a card about the individual energy. This is about how the individual expresses their energy, of them kind of moral stance and yeah, their spiritual kind of underpinnings. Perhaps that's what's being exposed here. Yeah, how one expresses oneself to the world. Yeah, interesting. It's a card of religion, if you like. And when a figure like that is upended on their head for whatever reason, and through whatever kind of process, whatever means or whatever events, you know, part of the shock of it is that they are suddenly just an old man on their arse with their robes around their ears, scrabbling to get up. It's very undignified. It's undignified. Okay, all right, let's pull the third one. Okay. Yeah, we've got Temperance in the reverse. This third position is things as they really are. And, you know, the energy coming into this reading is fresh, it's new, it's the beginning of a new cycle that obviously presupposes the ending of an old one. Okay, it's a 0 card. It's nice. It's good fresh energy, but you know, alongside these two cards, the hidden energy, the indignity of something, and the kind of the intemperance and the ill temper of something here. Spillage. Here we've got like tripping over and falling on your ass, and here we've got spillage. Right, I'm going to dive straight in, and that's not very nice, is it? You clicked off yet? It ain't great, but you know, let's clarify and see what we get. I'm going to come straight over to Temperance in the reverse here, because I want to see if there's any like good news in this final column. Well, you know, it's only the Queen of Pentacles. That's nice. Now, the two red-robed feminine energies here, the two Shaktis here. In this one, we have movement. Okay, we've got the kind of the spiritual fluid moving from one vessel to another in a very kind of very controlled but very relaxed way. And yeah, there really is something very magical going on here. If you look at the trajectory, I did manage to say that without falling over it, the trajectory of that fluid. Yeah, that kind of shouldn't really be happening like that. But it is, because it's an angel, you see. So we've got movement here, we've got ebb and flow, but it's a very kind of contained thing, and we move into this. This is stillness. This is stillness. This is the contemplation of everything one has worked for, and the cherishing of it, and the loving of it, and just the sheer delight taken in it. And the delight is so profound that again, there's stillness. But we're dealing here with something that was moving, something that was fluid. This is solid. This pentacle is utterly solid. So I'm very, very pleased to see that, because what it seems to me is that this movement had, in the Temperance card, this stillness in movement and movement in stillness of this card, it's had its day, okay? It's had its day. And this movement, like in all physics, unless a force continues to act upon it, movement will cease. That's just physics. That's inertia. It will cease. And that's what I see here. A journey from movement of something really important to stillness. This is bringing out the stillness aspect of the Temperance card. As I said, movement in stillness and stillness in movement. And it's ceased here. Right, I'm actually going to do this a different way today. I'm going to clarify one minor arcana suit. That's my plan at the moment. So I'm coming over here now for some pentacle energy. Okay, we've got the Six of Pentacles. Well, fair enough. Move on. Move on. And it's like we're moving on without much to sort of show for ourselves somehow. You know, there's a parallel here between the Fool and his sort of raggedy attire here. And that, okay, can you see that badge on his back there, that M? And he's called in this deck Il Matto. And I've never actually looked that up, what that means. But I did do that word. I mean, I haven't looked for the Italian translation of it. But I did do some research on this M stitched to his back here. And what that was about, dear viewer, dear listener, what that was about was when someone had committed some sort of misdemeanor in their community. And one of the ways to mete out justice on the part of the community, and as I'm saying that, I'm coming back to this Hierophant and his acolytes around him. Someone's looking the other way, but that's just a detail of the card. But when somebody has transgressed in the public view, one of the punishments for them was to basically banish them, possibly permanently, possibly temporarily, from the village, from the town. And I mean, in those days, you know, there were watch people on the village gates, and you did not get out and you did not get in by the road, in any case, without it being known. And then we had this period where that wasn't the case, and now we're right back to that. But it's not even just the town gates; it's your internet. Anyway, it knows where you are all the time. Oh, there, yeah. And to distinguish somebody who'd been banished for a transgression of which they were judged to be guilty, to distinguish them from just a traveller on the road, this M was sewn to their back. And I guess, you know, if they were seen by somebody who knew the score here without the M, because you could easily take it off, then it would probably make things even worse for you. So there's a kind of sign here of something in a previous cycle having not perhaps been done so well. And that has left a kind of rather vulnerable, like naked out there in the world kind of feel to this. And these two figures here are likewise kind of straightened, and you can see that they're in straightened circumstances. And, you know, they are being kind of looked after with real generosity. So there's generosity of spirit here. And this might or might not be relevant to this reading. But, you know, I noticed this a while ago about this Rider-Waite Six of Pentacles. There's a detail in it. And sometimes it seems relevant, sometimes it doesn't. And the fact that I've started talking about it today, well, we'll see. Can you see on this figure here, right down there is that little tear, that little rip. And we can see that underneath this bedraggled like sackcloth here is actually a bright red garment, just like him. So someone's sort of someone's playing victim here and wanting to be looked after, wanting to be supplied, wanting to be kind of kept safe, wanting to be sort of let off, I guess. Because, you know, we've got beggars here, and beggars get money by just asking for it rather than doing something for it. I suppose the asking, you know, sell the dignity. But I mean, nobody does that by choice. Let me be clear about that. Except perhaps this one. There's some sort of subterfuge going on here about who's the victim. Okay, there is. And what a story of torn fabric. Because I was talking about the removal of this matto sign from the back in order to go incognito. And there's a kind of incognito, or certainly a representation of someone here that is not accurate. And very wisely, you know, we'll see. Is this merchant going to give to this one who's the real deal? What's going to happen? Perhaps he's already looked at this one and gone, "No, mate, I recognise you from the inn at the guilds. Yeah, I recognise you. I know you. You're not getting anything from me." Okay, now let's pull a pentacle on this Hierophant in reverse. I mean, this does really, really suggest to me that some basic transgression has taken place. And it's interesting that my mind kind of, because I've like forgot about this while I was talking about all this. Someone's trying to sort of cover up and trying to cover up having acted like a bit of a shite. Okay, someone's trying to cover it up and they're trying to position themselves as the hard done by one, and receive the generosity of those in a position to give. But it's trickster energy. This hidden energy column, position 2. You know, this trickster energy is it's a cover up, just like that sackcloth is. Okay, 4 of Pentacles. Again, remember, this is what we don't see. Someone has been kind of hanging on to something in a kind of covert way. Someone's been keeping hold. I mean, here we see 1 pentacle, him, you know, being kind of surveyed with such love and such devotion. This is just kind of holding on to it out of sheer, it's not greed, because it's not, so it's miserliness. It's an unwillingness to spend. But I'm seeing in this, somebody's been keeping more than one option and very, very steadfastly keeping things that way. And perhaps that is what has been leading to this, or what has led to this Temperance in reverse, because there's only so long that one can deal with somebody who does this before you get wind of it. And that sort of loves me not, loves me not. You know, when you realize that this is what's going on, that somebody is keeping different options, different kind of opportunities. Like there's one in this pocket, there's one in that pocket, there's one just tucked behind the door, and there's one under the pillow. Okay? That kind of loves me not energy, which is one way of expressing the Temperance card, and that movement of the energy from one side to the other. Boom, that's over, mate. That's over when you get wind of this. Okay, right, let's move on. I'm going to keep going with this now. So, Ace of Wands. This stick here is this stick here across the Fool's shoulder. This kind of exposure, or this growing sense that someone is keeping stuff to themselves. And when people keep stuff to themselves, there is often, in fact, usually, a kind of self-serving motive in that. This sets you free. You actually feel quite what's the word? Dynamized. I can't, you know, this puts some dynamism into you. You know, there are other ways of expressing this energy, or aspects of the Fool energy, but you know, we have drawn the Fool here, and it's the only card in the flipping upright in the major arcanas. I don't take reversals in the minor arcanas, by the way. You know, there is freshness to this, and it is in a way that, yes, sort of galvanizing. It's galvanizing, and yeah, I'm going to move on. Okay, I'm going to carry on down this column now. You actually feel quite this realization that somebody's trying to get like a free dinner, basically. And I mean, everybody needs to eat, but there's an exchange, okay? But this is not reciprocal. This one pretending to be poor. It's not reciprocal. It's getting something by cheating, basically. And the awareness of that is very galvanizing. What can I say? And sets you out on a new kind of feel. That's how it feels at the moment. But it might not be particularly comfortable. And as I say that, I've pulled the Eight of Swords. I didn't look at that. I picked it up and I was just yakking away about this. Yeah, it's not comfy. It's not comfy energy. Because there's something about this this issue of fairness and false victimhood and subterfuge. Subterfuge that is motivated by a wish to benefit from someone's generosity here. And I mean, generosity is a beautiful thing. And if generosity is abused, no fool like an old fool, it's very, very, I mean, yeah, it's galvanizing, but not necessarily in a comfortable way. And, it can make you feel really vulnerable because you think, why didn't I see it? But it's even more than that, because, I mean, generosity is sort of transcended fairness. We have fairness where things are equal and there's equal give and take. And then you have generosity where you choose to go beyond the kind of the expectations of reciprocity. And you do it by choice. It's your completely of your own volition. I mean, he doesn't have to do this. He doesn't have to give money to the poor. He doesn't have to. He's doing it because he wants to. I mean, okay, he might be doing it a bit for show, yeah, at the inn, the guilds, so to speak. When I talk about that, it's this medieval energy, because in medieval times and afterwards as well. Communities and towns were one of the kind of socio-economic power structures in medieval times in Europe was the guildsman, the tradesman. You had you had people who worked with metal, people who worked with leather, people who worked with stone. That's where masons came from. And things were organised. Part of the townly life was organised around and by these guilds. And and they've sort of developed and evolved over the years, but they're still there. If you take certain qualifications, vocational qualifications in skills in that way, like material skills, you get to join the guild. And, when you are successful in some sort of study or something, certainly in a practical subject, you get to join a professional body. It's the same sort of thing. So there is always a certain amount of kudos to be gained in the sight of the guilds by this, but it's not necessary. It's not a rule that you have to give. And giving by choice and it turning out that you were basically giving to someone who didn't deserve it, it's never going to lead to a happy state of mind, is it? And we got the Eight of Swords, but it's kind of light touch. It's light touch. It's like the minor arcana version of the devil, really. Well, the Eight of Swords and the Seven of Swords. It's a bit hangman energy as well. But I mean, bottom line is, with this card, you can walk out of this anytime you want. This is a temporary state of affairs. These ropes can be shaken off quite easily. The blindfold can be removed, and then it becomes clear you are not surrounded. You're free to move on. Full energy. You're free to move on. But I said it's a bit like the devil card, and I mean, the devil always, to my mind, one of the aspects of the devil is the thing of enjoying being in some sort of uncomfortable situation, and you're kind of staying in it by choice. And, you know, it's only a matter of time before she realizes, or she has to take on board that she's there by choice and that she can move out of that energy anytime she wants. But for as long as she thinks she can't, and decides not to shake that rope off and not to sort of, you know, break out of this self-imposed and self-maintained mental prison, as long as she doesn't take that choice, she's there, okay? And that's the temporary energy of where we are right now. Okay, the Two of Cups. Well, you know, that's really nice, but this, I said at the beginning that this reading might well turn out to be about love, and I think there it is. You know, this is I mean, it seems weird, you know, love often does entail this unpleasant, like, mental energy we got here in the Eight of Swords. And I mean, I'm a Buddhist, and one of the teachers with whom I'm in touch, one of the great and lovely teachers with whom I'm in touch, is reputed to have said, if you want pain, have a relationship. And this is a Buddhist monk in his like 80s, all right, who's like always been a Buddhist monk, and I guess hasn't had a relationship. Mind you, some of them are married now, you know, they're married. But yeah, that's what he's supposed to have said. So I think perhaps what we're pivoting on, the sort of tightrope we're running along here in this first column, is that we realize that there is an aspect in the Six of Pentacles here, and it is echoed in the Two of Cups itself. If love is not fair, if it's not equal, and equal doesn't mean identical. All right, equal means that no matter what each person is putting in, they both feel comfortable doing that. And the two sides can be very, very different. There can be two very different things in these cups. But as long as both sides feel comfortable with the deal, basically, it is a deal. It doesn't matter how different the contents of those cups are. It's not to do with being the same. It's to do with being equal and being comfortable with the deal. And clearly not here. Clearly not. But it is, as I say, it's quite energizing. But like the energizing quality of the Ace of Wands here mixed with the Eight of Swords, it's quite potent mental discomfort, I would say. And it might be you and it might be them. Who knows? But that's where we find ourselves as we come into the reading. Right, I am now going to continue to pull on the hidden energy, what you don't see. And we already saw that there's a covert energy here of keeping multiple options open, all right, and not spending the pentacle, right? Because once you can only spend it once. Okay, and for many, many people, it's safer to keep things like a pot of it in here and a pot in here and a pot in here and a pot in here. So that if you F this one up, you've still got the other three, say. But it's the kind of thing that, you know, in financial terms, that can be quite a good idea. And, you know, this is Pentacles after all, so you might think, well, what's the problem? You know, this is quite a sensible thing to do. But what it does is create this kind of stricture around the flow, right? There's the flow, rightly or wrongly, you know, to this one or this one and all that stuff I was talking about, fairness and generosity. This kind of energy blocks the flow. This kind of energy, though, doesn't. So we've got a real Flipping it, we've got such a contrast here. The wands here, there's so much energy so far in the wand row. So much energy. I'm going to keep pulling because I'm not sure how to interpret that in the context of what we've already got. Not yet. Knight of Swords, more energy. Okay. Listen, I don't usually say things like this in tarot card readings because I kind of, in a way, I pride myself on being quite sensible. I'm reading tarot. I try to keep it like as unfluffy as possible and as sort of, sensible as possible. But what I'm getting from this, dear viewer, dear listener, is that this Four of Pentacles energy, and more importantly and possibly gravely, this Hierophant in reverse. I mean, Hierophant is often the card of marriage as well and of union. Clearly something's gone flipping wrong here, like big time. And news of it reaches you, basically. Bottom line, I'm pulling the next card. I don't usually say things like that, and it's coming from friends. It's coming from friends. Okay, at the moment, we've got this solitary kind of stuck energy here around about this, but it breaks open. And here in the Ace of Wands, we've got this, like this single flipping torch here. And, it's like fire, isn't it? Kind of constituting all that we go ahead with, all that we're stepping forward with. But that breaks as well into the 8, and they're so beautifully parallel and they're so effective. I mean, if one don't get you, another one will, the way they're all coming in there. And, out of a clear blue sky, it's a bit sort of tower energy about this. And so I just don't want to sound like some sort of silly reader, but it really does look to me, in the most simple terms as possible, is that people around you, equals around you. And by that, I mean people who are in each other's lives by choice, and that the motivation to be connected is coming from the same place, i.e. choice. And that is basically your friends. It's not your family. It's not your colleagues. If you've got a nice stable relationship, then it's that as well. It's your partner as well. But, if you're looking at a reading like this, ... So this is about your mates, all right? This is about your friends. And basically, there's something from them constitutes one very clear, quick slice. I mean, it's not the Queen of Wands. She's still negotiating. This is just a message, mate. This is a message coming in loud and clear about this. And this is some sort of comfort, all right? Because this is really sad, this Hierophant in reverse and this Four of Pentacles. It's really sad. So there is some sort of solace here. So, if people who think well of you and of whom you think well attempt to comfort you, maybe do them the honour of trying to accept that a little bit. Right? Even though you're feeling like this. They are still there for you. All right? But there's some kind of real change, some incoming really changes things. So this column is both about the hidden energy and about what the hidden energy kind of presages, if you like, what it heralds. And as I say that, I'm seeing that sword there, that knight on that really, really fast and furious. I mean, look, be foaming at the mouth. he's going to need like a few good handfuls of oats and a quiet stable to recover. Right? And, you might as well. So, let your friends look after you. The matter of friendship is, and as I said, the presence of people in your life by choice and your presence in their life by choice. That's it. There's something about that in this as well. Whether they are the source of the news or the comforter of the news or a distraction from it or whatever. Or, I just see this. Maybe somebody who's pretended to be a friend actually isn't. And that doesn't necessarily mean they're an enemy, but maybe someone in your circle lets slip something or takes a choice to communicate something to you that kind of exposes this. And somebody in your circle taking a choice like that, I mean, if they let slip, then, tough shit. For them, tough shit. When we blab the farm on something, that's on us, But there might also be a brave decision here on the part of somebody in your circle to basically give you a lowdown on this. And I have to say, on that bit of torn fabric there, someone's been getting kind of fed, maybe, in some way by pretending to be in a worse position than they are. Right, I'm going to carry on with this. Very nice. The Four of Wands. Stability, solidity, but like a light touch. There's nothing heavy about this. There's nothing kind of, like set in stone. And, it's light in that way. But it's very joyous. It's really, really nice. And it is stable. And it's the start of something, some new structure, some putting in place of something that makes you happy. Right? And this is things as they really are. So, I mean, I wasn't happy to see this Temperance in reverse. I'm never happy to see the Angel of Temperance on her head. But I can see why with all of this. And this is more about the stoppage of the loves me not energy. It's the stoppage of that and the solidifying and the kind of, in a sense, the choosing of one pentacle out of this four here. This miser, this sort of silly energy that like has stuff and just keeps it to themselves and hides it away. What is the point in having, for example, a really, really fantastic car if you never take it out the flipping garage? What's the bloody point? Then you possess things simply for the knowledge of possessing them. There's no flow, like I said, and there's no love in it. These pentacles that he's holding on to he's not holding on to them out of love. He's holding on to them because he's too scared to flip and spend them. And he's scared about, making the wrong decision here. So there's just this kind of frozen energy. And there's something sort of rather, I mean, what people choose to do with their resources of all sorts, it's like their business. But people I know who have a kind of miserly kind of energy to them and whose minds will naturally go that way, personally, it's not a very attractive, I don't find it a very attractive quality. But then I've probably got it in some senses as well, shouldn't point fingers, should we? But this rather sort of distasteful thing here in the Four of Pentacles is transformed into this choice and this kind of collapsing down of potential into the actual. If we're going to go well like quantum, it collapses down into one particle, and it is the most beautiful thing she's ever seen. And it's not beautiful as in it's valuable. It's beautiful as in, I mean, it happens to be valuable. That's one of its qualities. But it's beautiful because it is what it is, and only it is that. And that alone is enough to, you know, and I don't know what this pentacle represents in this reading. Maybe we'll find out. I don't know if it's love. I don't know, but there's certainly love like depicted here. And it kind of releases the tension of the Eight of Swords here, and, you know, this kind of blocked energy and of the Four of Pentacles. It releases all that into some new venture, basically set on solid foundations. It's absolutely lovely and garlanded in celebration. So there's lovely, lovely. It's a lovely aspect. It's a lovely vista. All right, there's my second ace. Usually pull a couple. If I pull one, I'm usually going to pull another one. It's very often the case with the court cards as well. Ace of Swords. Okay, well, there's an absolute non-mincing of words here. But in conjunction with the Queen of Pentacles and the Four of Wands, I would say this Ace of Swords is well judged. And here do you remember I was talking about blabbing the farm and someone like letting something slip? Yeah, that's lack of judgment. And it usually comes out of a wish to impress, or a wish to kind of make somebody think better of you than you fear they do. But this is measured and very effective. It's absolutely lovely. And a Page of Cups. Okay, a nice, fresh, rather counterintuitive. I'll have to look up one day. Why is there a flipping fish in that cup? What does that represent? I don't know. But it's nice. It's fresh and it's new. And it's very nice how this kind of caps off the reading that started with the Fool. Because here again, we have this single, unencumbered optimism here with this very small burden of whatever's in this knapsack here in the Fool. And we've got this small weight of a fish. And it looks to me like the fish is still alive. So, you know, this is a live offer. And he has literally just scooped that out of the water there. So this is something lovely and fresh and simple and wholesome, like being kind of scooped up and just kind of presented to you by someone. And there's something sort of flirtatious about this as well. Something, you know, it's like in this reading today, this Page of Cups, he knows that offering a fish in this way, or sort of, you know, brandishing a herring in this way is faintly ridiculous, but he doesn't mind, you know, it's goodwill. It's really, really lovely goodwill. I am going to pull an oracle card and I just need to go and get them. Hold on. They're on the other side of the room. Oh, and they're quite heavy. I've got two oracles here. I'm going to, which one? Oh, actually I've got three. I've got three oracles. I mean, this ends really, really nicely. Okay. All right. This week like develops in a very, very interesting and yeah, there's kind of interesting and sort of rich evolution happening here. So it's not a nothing week, that's for sure. Right, I'm going to pull one from The Wild Kuan Yin Oracle by Alana Fairchild. Now, Kuan Yin is the sort of Mongolian cousin, if you like, kind of goddess cousin of the Tibetan Buddhist deity called Green Tara, well, Tara, who principally enacts her stuff in the form of Green Tara, who is known as the mother of the Buddhas. And if you go a little bit further north and east from like the Himalaya, you get into the area of Kuan Yin. She kind of morphs. And that is the case with a lot of those ancient like Buddhist and Vedic deities. And I mean, people say that Buddhism isn't a religion, and it isn't a religion in the context of there is no belief in a creator God, yeah, and some sort of controlling force, some sort of kind of anthropomorphized controlling force. No, who sort of knows everything and has got everything under control. No, it's not like that in Buddhism. But in Tibetan Buddhism, which was a kind of fusion of Buddhism from India, there were various kind of pilgrims, basically Buddhist pilgrims in India, who travelled up into the Himalaya. And what they found there was a kind of pantheistic shamanic culture. It was called Bon. And so the Buddhism kind of fused with the Bon. And that's part of why there are deities in Tibetan Buddhism, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, Green Tara, the wonderful, wonderful goddess Green Tara, with her mantra Om Darita Darituri Saha, Om Darita Darituri Saha, Om Darita Darituri Saha. So I'm just going to open the deck here and pull this one, okay, from, oh man, oh, I'm so glad, okay, oh, okay. This is Lady of Lhasa Descends. So this is coming down from the mountain, all right, and coming down in a kind of stately procession. This journey of the lady from Lhasa to the lower, not the lower realms in that field, but down from the mountains into the foothills and down onto the plains. This is scheduled, it's expected, and it puts things to rights. You may have been, and I'm not reading from the book, all right, when I say this, you may have felt like you've been in sort of exile. And I say that, and I think again about the thing about Il Matto, who's been banished from his home. I mean, it's a bit of a different story here, but there's a seasonal quality to this, that it is time for a kind of re-entry into the world. And in this energy, and in this energy here, again, remember, this is things as they really are. We re-enter the flow of the world in a better position than we were when we left it and went into retreat in the mountains. This is coming down from the mountain, as I say, in state. And she's not making this journey because she fancies it, all right? And she's not making this journey because she's running away from something. She's making this journey because it's time to make this journey. And she's got everything she needs with her. And, as she descends from the mountain to the foothills, and then to the hills, and then to the plains, and then to the forests, and wherever she's going, a retinue grows around her because they know who she is. She is the lady. And it's time to re-enter the flow and appear, okay, reappear, as I said, you know, comparatively resplendent. Right, I'm going to leave that there. What a lovely way to end this reading. Absolutely lovely. Yeah, she ain't worried about anything, mate. How lovely. Right, I'm going to leave that there. If you'd like a private reading, the email address is in the description box. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.